Hi, my name is Brent Robinson. I've been with Indigo for 22 years, and I'm responsible for all of Eastern Canada. Nobody ever chooses parking as a career. They tend to fall into it. And that's exactly what happened to me. Answered an ad. You blink and it's 22 years later, and it's been a phenomenal ride. For the most of my career at Indigo, I was the GM in Ottawa. We started out with 5 locations in Ottawa. Now we're up to 170 plus. I know that we're up to 14 or 1500 locations in Canada. I mean, it's just been amazing to see the growth. I love what I do. I love the people. I love the challenge of trying to do everything we can for our clients. I've always been that person that loves to just get my hands dirty. And this is the place for that. There's always something to do. The people around here are just phenomenal. I often talk about 3 things. You need to know your sites, know your clients, and know your numbers. Okay. If you have those 3 things and you understand them backwards and forwards, you can't lose. So you can't talk to a client if you don't know your site. You can't do the right things for your client if you don't speak to your client and understand what his needs are. And you can't speak to a client from a position of strength if you don't know your numbers. And so all of those things are related. And if you tackle those things, then you cannot avoid being successful. Full stop. I'm automatically drawn to issues that are related to professionalism and revenue generation. So if the garage is not clean, if the staff are not dressed professionally, if they're not in the right position, for example, they shouldn't be in the parking booth. They should be outside greeting our customers as they come in. Without the customers, we don't have a business, right? So I'm looking for those kinds of challenges from a professional level. And then revenue generation, how big are the aisles? How many spaces do we have? How full are we? How are people parking as far down as the lowest level or the top level, the roof? So heads on a swivel, looking for things that we can improve and build on in terms of our experience and how to bring that to bear. Obviously, technology is going to drive where parking is going. There may very well be fewer cars on the road, especially given the price of gas these days, and the ever increasing presence of mass transit projects. But people are always going to want to drive their car. I mean, it is a convenience for most people to drive their car, get to work, be able to pick up their children at the end of the day. I don't see parking being less important. I just see it evolving or changing with the times. And I think technology is certainly going to play a huge part in that. Indigo is a parking company that is equipment or technology agnostic, right? So we don't have a direct relationship with any one vendor. We choose the right vendor for the right situation. A lot of the parking equipment that's used today, all of the systems do more or less the same thing, but some have a better support. Some have a better back office. Some are more user friendly. Some are more expensive, less expensive. And what I'm seeing now is there's this introduction of AI into these systems. On the data side, we use extensively our business intelligence dashboard to not only look at the revenues from yesterday and predict what the revenues are going to be tomorrow, but to also tell us what's the occupancy? When are people coming in? When are they leaving? There's a heat map in these dashboards that allows you to see the comings and goings of your clientele, and it allows you to structure your rates a certain way to be perhaps more aggressive or less aggressive at a certain time of day. Dynamic pricing is what we talk about often, and it allows us to maximize the kinds of revenues our clients want in different segments of each day. And the dashboard just allows us to do that. Do your homework. And if you decide or if you're thinking about, choosing Indigo for your as your parking operator or your parking manager, you're not going to be disappointed. The experience, the amount of service that we provide, I mean, I feel we're second to none, right? But I guess that's what I would say. Just do your homework. Don't base your decision on price. There needs to be that cordial relationship and that trust. And that's built over time. And honesty and being genuine with your client. Most of the clients that I deal with, they don't appreciate the fly by night kind of operators that come in with a fancy pitch or a fancy price or what have you. They want quality. And if you figure out what your client wants and needs, there's no reason why you ever have to worry about leaving that relationship. Clients are so busy these days managing these large towers. And if you're generating the revenue they expect, and if the relationship is solid, you'll be there forever.